Krishna. And in this way we can preach from any situation. Any situation. You may not believe that, but 1970, Prabhupada said, my spiritual master preached predominantly to brahmacharya and sannyasis, people in a state of renunciation. I am preaching through grihastas, through family men, because that's the ultimate preaching formula for the West. Because these people are so accustomed to associate man, woman, so there is no training really. So I get them married. Prabhupada himself even took that risk. He was criticized for that because sannyasi is normally not supposed to be involved in such a thing. But there was no mother, there was no father, there was nothing. So Prabhupada had to do something about it. So he got his disciples married and made them preach. Opening preaching center. And what was his preaching formula? Well, you got married, you need a place to live. And you got married, you need some income. And you have to cook something and eat. So invite people, offer prasadam, chant Hare Krishna, and that's called a temple. When Prabhupada said, I have now 108 temples in the West, most of the temples were exactly like this. It was just flats with grihasta couples living in it, who were preaching. And what kind of preaching that was? 3 grihasta couples opened the whole preaching in England, ultimately inducing even George Harrison surrendering and giving us a big place to, it was the first big temple in the West. Prabhupada was laughing. He said, my Guru Maharaj sent sannyasis brahmacharis to preach to England, they could do nothing. I sent out 3 grihasta couples and they opened a whole temple in Everest. Basically an incident from India that was a little bit few years later when Prabhupada gave a lecture in Mayapur in India, in Bengal, and one of his prominent sannyasi godbrothers visited. They were still alive, So he was respectfully welcomed. And just to show, because it is known that Prabhupada's godbrothers were actually very, very learned personalities. But they didn't preach much, but they were very learned in themselves. So after the lecture, this incident was, I couldn't believe this when I heard this. Prabhupada was sitting on a Vyasasan and this sannyasi, his godbrother, asked after the lecture some quite intricate question regarding the lecture. Prabhupada was thinking for a few seconds and then he looked in a bag. And there was one Mataji sitting there in a bag amongst 100 other Matajis. And he said, this is a nice question, she can answer. This Mataji imploded. In a temple with hundreds of devotees, in the presence of Prabhupada's godbrother, she was supposed to answer this question, his question. But, these American Matajis are not so, I consider them all being reincarnated men. They are all not very, pretty heavy ladies, who were already very active in preaching field. So she recollected what Prabhupada said on this issue and gave a not very high-flying, shloka-packed answer, but simple and absolutely shastrically correct. Simple answer. Prabhupada was sitting in a Vyasasan and he looked at his godbrother and he was going, yes. Next question. It's pretty humiliating for that godbrother. He expected some sophisticated philosophical exchange and then some Mataji answers there. And Prabhupada looked at him like, in my movement, any Mataji can answer this question. Prabhupada was so proud. Especially on one lady, which her name was Govinda Dasi. She must have got some special mercy from Prabhupada, because in his letters you find Prabhupada is praising her all the time. Our heroine Govinda Dasi defeated the Mayavadis in such a wonderful way. Which is unheard of in the history of Vaishnavism, really. They were very, very prominent big Vaishnavis, but not so active in the preaching field like Prabhupada did. He put grihastas, people with children, families, straight into the preaching field. This is not done in a Vedic culture actually. Grihasthas are just maintaining and supporting the preaching by inviting sannyasis, giving donations. This is generally the Vedic culture. But Prabhupada said, if the house is on fire, it doesn't even matter what kind of language the fire brigade men are speaking. You have to, whoever brings the water and extinguish the fire, he is the hero. People don't ask, there was some Chinese fire brigade man, they are happy the house is not burning anymore. So Prabhupada considered preaching absolutely emergency. It's an urgent need. Whatever you know about Krishna, give it further. And the most secure way to give somebody something about Krishna is to give him a book. Because you don't have to struggle to have a big lecture and who knows what you will say because maybe you don't understand what they say. Just give him a book. And that book will stay. Even the person may not even keep it in the preaching, he will give it to somebody else. Who knows where the book comes? Who knows where it will end? I know devotees joining, they found a book in a garbage bag. I know devotees joining who found a book in a train. That's one of my brothers joined like this. He was an artist, he traveled from Holland on a train to Germany. And he was sitting there alone, and he saw there was a shelf in the train and somebody left a little book. It was called Ijopanishad. So he took the book and he was reading and saying, oh, that's for all the people reading. And he read the whole book through. And then he was saying, this is amazing. Where is this coming from? And then he found that there was an address at the end. Hare Krishna Temple, Heidelberg. It's a town in the middle of Germany. So this is amazing. He looked out of the window and the train was stopping in Heidelberg. So he got out of the train, went to the temple, joined and never came back. I asked him, what did you do with the apartment you had in Holland? He said, I don't know. He said, what did you do with the keys from the apartment? I threw them in the garbage. People used to join like this. I joined like this basically too. Just like this. I know brothers who said, the students studying with them in a class in a university, got a book, read this, some few lines, not even the whole book. They said, hey, they have a place in San Francisco. This was in Los Angeles. In the afternoon, he saw him on a highway with a sleeping bag hitchhiking to San Francisco. He said, I never saw him again. He disappeared. He never came back to the school. He became a devotee. Finished. People are joining like this all the time. So the safest way to preach is to give them a book. Especially when Indians do it, it looks very convincing because this is our book. Bhagavad Gita here. But people will take it probably just out of respect. Yes, this is the Indian Bible. Okay, let's check it out. And of course, it's nice when we know the book. We should read the book. That's nice, because then you can say something. But to present properly Bhagavad Gita, but it doesn't have to be anything sophisticated. Just a basic thing. It's a science about self-realization. That word science is quite good to use because people are so proud of science. Some religion, what is this? No, it's a scientific way to understand our real nature. And you give him a book. And let's see if he's serious. He will come back and ask, hey, what is this? I read this in a book. What is this? The soul cannot be divided. What is this kind of thing? And then you can, as I mentioned in the beginning, you can just start on this very simple platforms. We are not this body, we are, like this. So anybody can preach. The association with other preachers is also important to get the training. There's no requirement of some fancy seminars, some very heavy studying, and then we don't know even how to apply it. Prabhupada said, I can quote you a letter, he said, better you read only 4 shlokas a day from Bhagavad Gita and think about it, how to apply it in your life. This is the important part. Think about it. How to apply it in your environment, you work. How to apply it in your life. How to present it to others. That's real. That's real. And therefore, that's actually the preaching people really get impressed. What? You are working, you have a family, and still you can be Krishna conscious? Yeah. It's not easy. Nobody said it's easy. As one disciple exclaimed to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you said Krishna consciousness is so simple. Prabhupada said, yes. I said it's simple, but I didn't say it's easy. Because it's very, very difficult to be simple. We are so complicated. We know really how to complicate our lives. So if we preach in such a simple, straightforward, honest fashion, then our preaching becomes effective on all levels. On all levels. Like example, as a householder, you may get a problem. People think, yeah, well, look, you are preaching here some renunciation, but you are living like you have your income and you have your job, and you don't look to me so renounced. But that's not a problem, because the same people will complain about brahmachari. What are you preaching to me? Some renunciation. I can understand. You may be renunciate, but how? What does this to do with me? What do you know about having children? What do you know about working? What do you know about paying taxes? What do you know? So people will never be satisfied like this. People who want to complain, they will always complain. So there's always something lacking. You cannot be a brahmachari and grihastha simultaneously. It doesn't work. And actually Prabhupada said it is the same. It's called ashrama. Brahmachari, ashrama, grihastha, ashrama. It's just another ways to live. But the goal is the same, the philosophy is the same, the striving for one's spiritual advancement and purification is the same. So in this way, anybody can preach, from any position he is in. So this is what Prabhupada wanted. So don't be miserly. You know, it's Duratma, this is Duratma and Mahatma. You know, small-minded, miserly. This movement is not for a class of devotees which are called Kanishta Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari means just satisfy one's own routines. Me and Krishna, that's all. You know, leave me alone. You are disturbing. I want to serve Krishna. No, this is a Sankirtan movement. Sankirtan means chanting together and spreading chanting together. That's Sankirtan. So this is the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the spirit Prabhupada trained us in. Okay, we want to prolong this too because we have our guests from Burma. They still have to travel back and there will be midnight in Burma and it's all my fault. But there's some questions, some comments to this? There's so much to talk about this. I don't even come to this to read all these quotes and everything because you will be amazed what you find what Prabhupada said. Studying Srila Prabhupada's words, his teachings, his things, takes your whole life.
And then you asked me a good question earlier today.
Yeah.
What was the question?
It was, my mother, when she visited yesterday, she bought an article. She had found an internet, an article on the internet, searching about Hare Krishna, and it was about some. They were really critical about some episodes.
Oh yeah, internet is a great way to spread the bad news.
But it was in the morning when I was chanting, it was just coming to my mind again and again like this. It said people had really come bad out of Hare Krishna movement. It was said like the physical injuries or something. So
what? In Hare Krishna movement?
Yeah, it's something like that was written in the article.
In general, we can answer very simple. This is like a hospital. Okay? What do you expect when you come to a hospital? You know, healthy people walking on the hallways, going, it's hospital. So, we are trying to help people in a hospital. Let's not talk about the nature of the patients. Let's talk about the nature of the medicine and the doctors. That's important. You don't go to a hospital and interview the patient. How do you feel? Well, he has fever, he is sick, He will tell you, I don't like this hospital. They give me this bitter medicine and, I feel terrible. I hate the doctors, And then you go out and the hospital is bad. They hate the doctors. It's exactly what happened. It's called the internet. What kind of stupid approach is this anyway, to listen from people who are just flipped out over the hospital? Speak to the doctors and analyze the medicine. So we don't cover it up. You know, we are sometimes accommodating the most crazy people on this planet. I am myself sometimes wondering if I wouldn't come to this movement, I would meet such a concentrated madness. Maybe not. Maybe I would live some mediocre life somewhere in a corner and just having some job and you think, oh, okay, the world is fine. But I in Krishna consciousness, if I would tell you the whole thing, you will definitely not sleep tonight. And you will definitely be very disturbed chanting your rounds in the morning. I'm much better as your mother. But what's the use? To talk about how diseased the patients are. They are sick. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, as long as they take the medicine and follow the instruction of the supreme magician, supreme doctor, they are saintly. Why? Because they are in a process of recovery. And then there are those who say, I have enough of this medicine. Actually, I feel completely healthy. That's called madman. They walk out, they can even walk out and open their own hospital. Come, this is the two regulative principle hospital. You know, we have a perfect medicine, it's much nicer here. You don't have to follow all these rules and regulations. Chant Hare Krishna and do any nonsense you want. You'll be happy. For some people it sounds very inspiring. Hey, you mean I can drink and chant and wow, you know, very nice. When I go to that Hare Krishna temple, I'm restricted, I have to do so many things. I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. And here I'm a devotee. I can drink and chant and smoke and hunt some girls down. I'm great. In India, there are a whole class of people, it's called Sahajiya. They don't follow one damn thing. I saw them playing, you know, here on the harmonium in India, you know, and they go, Hare Krishna, and there's a cigarette here sticking like this, and between the smoking they go, and they go, and they sing only for girls. It's like in a rock star in a West, you know. In a West, you know, it's usually the guitar player, he has stuck the cigarette in the guitar like this, and he goes. So they do the same thing, just chant. That's very offensive. So there are people coming in, coming out all the time. So if somebody is very eager to listen, oh, he walked out and he was so sick. Well, maybe he was less sick as when he came in. Some people come to this movement and say completely asocial renegades, you know, people who are just cannot even remember their name. And they walk out and they get a job. Well, that's an improvement, you know. That's an improvement. So this is not this kind of argumentation. You say, why are you talking about people who left? Let's talk about the people who stay. And please, this is the book, this is the medicine, this is the process. Something wrong with that? Can you find something wrong with this? No, there's actually nothing wrong with it. The people are wrong. Yeah, you are right. So what can I do about it? You can walk tomorrow out and say, what was this? It was like a dream. I was there, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, now I realize this was a mistake. Now I'm perfectly okay. I will sit in my flat and speculate and do any nonsense. I feel completely okay. Why not? Who can stop you? Yeah.
No, I'm just curious about the story you tell. About the story you told about the boy who helped you in Norway. What became of him? Did he become a devotee?
No. It's a student. There are people who get this kind of benefit, they come out of nowhere. And, I mean, he certainly didn't forget that. If you would meet him today, by now he's an older man, so he will probably remember, oh yeah, I was helping this guy on the street, you know, it was really nice. Some people stay like this. This is not our concern really, how people pick up. This is something between them and Krishna. We are just, helping anybody on the way.
No, because as you said that there were no devotees in Norway, so I thought maybe he was one of the first.
No. Would be nice, but no. I don't know how then it started. I was not part of the initial preaching in Norway. I don't know who was there first. And I know who came first to Finland, but I know how that started. Sweden, that I was still around when that started. That was done by German devotees. They traveled around. One of the first Swedish devotees, Srila Krishna Swami, so he was found by German devotees in Hamburg. I don't tell you which part of Hamburg. It was typical devotees as a revolutionary. They always went there where there's a part of Hamburg which is just reserved for prostitutes and for this called Reeperbahn. And devotees somehow always said, this is a great place to make a Harinam here, you know. And they walked, you know, and they were just pulling the drunkards out of the bars and they were just chanting, you know, yeah, this is the real thing here, look. And it's like he's going to hell, you know. And then somehow they picked up some really confused fellow, you know, on the street, and he was from Sweden. And he joins them immediately. That was Srila Krishna Swami. I asked him, what did you do in Reeperbahn, you know, and the prostitute said, I don't know. Because he's definitely a person who never in his life would go to a prostitute, even as a karma, you know. So he said, I said, this is a very famous place. It was in a tourist guide, you know. You go to Hamburg, you go to Reeperbahn. And then I walked in and I realized, oh no, this is all just bars and prostitutes. You know, and then before I found my way out, I already found the devotees there. And they just grabbed me and that was it.
Are there any devotees in Iceland?
Not directly, but there is devotees who went there, very regularly preaching. Brihadbanu Prabhu from Germany and Niklananda Prabhu, who was recently here, they were going there. I was, I think 25 years ago, I was supposed to be the GBC for Iceland. I was intervened with the GBC who was here, Harikesha, who was in Sweden. He very, very opposed this idea. He said, what is he going to do in Iceland? It's just some volcano there, you know, it's 200,000 people here. You should go to Göteborg. There's at least 500,000 people or some more. And that's how actually I came to Göteborg. We started preaching in Göteborg. That was my first temple in Sweden. It was actually the first year I was married, when I was Grihastha, actually. We did that, what Prabhupada said, that you get married, okay, you have a house, okay, and then we had a house in Göteborg. But I was so longing after the brahmacharis, I made it only in one condition. I will stay in Göteborg when the only existing brahmachari party in Sweden will be based in the town. So we had 4 or 5 brahmacharis based there also. And it was just a big house. 2.5, 3 years after that. It was quite nice preaching, I have to say. Göteborg is a little different than Stockholm. Small. They say that all the jokes in Sweden come from Göteborg. It's a harbour town. People are more simple and more, you know, more simple people. Stockholm is all like this. I'm not joining. This is too. I have to understand. First I have to get the Nobel Prize and I can join. So very, very sophisticated, proud.
What about Malmö?
Malmö is known as the, you know, as the, oh no, I was just about to say something very unpolite. Not very sophisticated. Let's express it gently. Not very sophisticated. But it was never really explored. Especially the connection Malmö-Lund. Very exciting. You have such a concentration of young people there. Lund is a fantastic city. It's like a campus. It's the only town in Europe I know where you come and you feel like American campus actually is not just university, it's like a whole village full of young people. They sit there and they live there and they study there, and that was the field which was very interesting to Prabhupada. When you get that kind of people joining, then it's very interesting. if I would have a chance to, someone would have some tangible thing to be based in this area, I would take it immediately.
So, what do you win?
This is not, we are not making any deals here, but I'm honest, I will take it immediately. There is a potential there. Because Mama is known for a heavy impact of foreigners, heavy criminality partially. So far I heard, it's not exactly, it doesn't give you the impression of a culture town, but I heard there's lots of young people too. There's university, there's this kind of thing. Wow. But you have to have a place, and you have to have a preaching spirit. And you have to give it what you can. And you have to be, you see, I learned throughout the years to be satisfied with very little. It doesn't pay off to have some megalomaniac plans. Let's have a temple in Malin, a golden temple like in Mayapur. Let's forget this. Let's have some nice place, simple, where people can come in, you can talk to them. That's how Prabhupada started this movement. He was not into temples. He was not organizing temples. He made himself 100% available for people. It was the first impression of all the first devotees who joined. They said, it was amazing. This old man, Prabhupada, didn't even understood who he is, but he had all the time in the world to talk to us. It was so inspiring. We could just be around and ask questions, and he had such amazing explanations. It was so attractive. Prabhupada didn't say, it's not now, it's not now, Sadhana Bhakti, no, this is not against Sadhana Bhakti, not at all. But people don't understand this. People don't join monasteries. People join because they feel personally addressed. Then they can join a monastery. That's the later part. But most of the people join because they feel personally affected. I joined like that. And it was heavy. It was heavy regulations there, but I joined because of persons. They would just preach to me, and I had the feeling, wow, they really want me around. I was needed. I was appreciated. I was needed. That's a feeling you don't get in a society really much. Like you have a job. You can get replaced anytime. Basically. I think so, isn't it? There's another one coming in. Okay, then when you don't work, they will replace you. When you become a devotee, you are very precious. It's a very special thing to become a devotee. We don't want to lose one devotee. So we have to be very careful and take care of devotees. Sometimes in the beginning people are very sentimental. They need some, they need time. You have to sit there sometimes and listen to far stories, and they want to tell you, how difficult it is for them to join Krishna consciousness and renounce the dog. Because they love the dog so much. What shall the dog do when I join? So what do you do in such situations? You say, just give the dog prasadam. Yes, okay. Then the dog can make also an advancement, and then gradually, you just gradually do. You are just available to people, you talk to them. That's difficult for brahmacharis to understand because they just go, what, dog? Shoot it. Hare Krishna. Yeah, but that's okay from your point of view, but most of the people will not accept this logic. So you have to gradually guide them around that. Brahmacharya is very simple. You just go, what is it? Oh, just make a little bit. Just cut it off. Because that's actually what they did more or less. But that cannot be applied to everyone.